A little more Gundam exploration today. We'll be looking into the 1991 theatrical feature, Mobile Suit Gundam F91, devised and directed by the franchise's creator, Yoshiyuki Tomino, although co-written with one Tunehisa Ito. F91 was an attempt by Tomino to relaunch the Gundam series, introducing a new story arc which takes place 30 years after the events of Char's counterattack. Initially intended as a new television series entirely, F91 eventually saw life as a feature film instead. As a result, I was under the impression that F91 wasn't as traditionally well considered as some of the other Gundam media. I think those who are popularly into Gundam and anime in general enjoy the character development and, let's be real, soap opera aspects of the form more than anything else. Remember how these morons used to complain that the Akira film had a subpar story, even though it doesn't, and therefore was overrated? The anime, which allegedly has good writing, their writing isn't that good. It isn't. No, Full Metal Alchemist is not superior to Marcel Proust, and that is even with placing Proust at the top of any acclaimed literature food chain either. Yes, I've read the Akira manga, and I know about all of that. It's very, very brilliant. But the animation of the feature renders any narrative critiques thrown toward it pretty laughable. So anyone who would watch Gundam F91 and complain that it lacks a story, why do you watch giant mecha cartoons? No, Neon Genesis Evangelion wasn't well written. It was a typical harem with a penguin, a cheap psychology degree, and a great feature, directed when Hideki Anno realized he and his show were hot garbage, animation accepted, as usual. And even if that feature stole from Yoshiyuki Tomino's own Space Runaway Ideon, it was pretty spectacular. That being said, I've always liked the idea of Evangelion, giant mechas fighting obscure deities from Jewish mysticism, groovy, phenomenal designs of machines and monsters all around. I just hate the human stuff, which is why people think it transcended or whatever. It's so freaking dumb. Anyway, the point is, F91 ought to be appreciated, in my annoying opinion, as a masterpiece of Tomino's innovative visual expressions. Some of the animation in this film is quite legendary. I once heard that Cecily's hair took up the majority of the film's budget. Who knows if that is true or not? I will say, some spots toward the end of the film, not of the animation necessarily, although sometimes a Gundam's facial details are not well defined or look rushed, and it doesn't help that they are just pushed into the forefront of the frame, almost as though it was a drawing whose dimensions were blown up frame by frame. I don't think that's definitely what happened, although it had me thinking of that possibility. My favourite piece of art design in this film is probably the climactic mobile armor XMA-01 Rafflegia, piloted by antagonist Caruso Iron Mask Rona. It's just the coolest mech design ever, and piloted by a maniacal, passionate villain ruthlessly trying to destroy his opponents. I tell you, it's almost as much as I've ever enjoyed Gundam thus far. There's a family dynamic underneath all of this, which is nice padding, although it is not essential to my enjoyment of the experience. Though I will say, it is executed rather well, all of the family drama contained, and I suppose condensed, into Mobile Suit Gundam F91. Now, I had been meaning to compose a video on F91 for a little while now, and I was in the process of working on this when I received a comment on my semi-recent video for Char's counterattack. How wonderfully strange, may I be able to go completely crazy and paranoid and assume people are watching me like Kerry Thornley did. In any case, thank you Richard Davis for your support. I always appreciated your immense talent as a jazz bassist, and I thoroughly enjoyed some of your albums, plus some of your appearances as a sideman, namely on Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch, and especially your work on Red Garland's Equinox. Good to hear from you in any context. I don't know how many Gundam fans haven't seen F91, and if they have, what they think of it nowadays. Traditional UC fans might consider it underwritten overall, newer fans will miss the high school drama of Gundam Seed, although for those of us into animation for animation's sake, Tomino is one of Osamu Tezuka's greatest successes. Mobile Suit Gundam F91 is truly legendary. One of the most powerful facets of this film, although I feel as though UC Gundam has always been good with this, is making one realize the reality of the violence which these wars inflict on everyday civilians and non-combatants. The ruthless collateral damage and innocent casualties was a bold choice for Tomino's Gundam F91, and grants it, as far as I know, a unique foothold in the annals of this humongous franchise. Mobile Suit Gundam F91. You already know if it's for you.